Hello everybody, happy Monday and welcome back to Blue Jay Acres. My name is Noelle. Thank you so much for staying by. Today is day 3 of our pantry challenge. It is cold. It can definitely say happy fall, you guys. It is, I guess it's in the 40s here right now and we only get up into the 50s. So crazy. I'm gonna do a lot of baking today. I'm gonna have my oven on a lot because really September, October, November, we try not to run our air or our heat at all, save some money that way. And so I like to run my oven a lot on cooler days. I also though have my window cracked because I like to keep it cracked in the kitchen because it does get warm in here when I'm doing all this cooking, but it helps kind of keep the rest of the house warm. It is late. It's already 10 o'clock and I'm just now starting breakfast. I know that's weird for farmers to eat so late, but I'm busy in the mornings. And really the only breakfast person lover in our family is Charles, and he'll grab like a piece of fruit until I have breakfast ready. But we eat later schedules, so we usually do lunch then more like 2 and dinner more like 7. Those are more typical kind of meals for us. It takes me forever to do my morning chores. We don't have a dryer still, so this morning I had to get the clothes on the line first thing I could because it will take all day for the clothes to dry because it's cooler outside. So I had to do that. We had a visitor in the barn. We had a possum come in last night and it went straight into one of our dog cages. We have multiple dog cages set up in our barn because when we have a sick chicken or anything like that, we need to put them in a dog cage, or a sick cat or an injured anything. Like we had an injured turkey for a little bit. We have to put them in a dog crate and we have them all set with hay and bowls and everything, you know, so that we can keep them safe. Well, the possum found his way into one of the dog crates. So they closed the dog crate last night and I went out this morning. It's sound asleep. Charles will set it free later in the day at the back, in the back of our property. And hopefully it won't come back up to the barn because we do have a lot of meat chicken, little ones that it could definitely gobble up. And, you know, we don't want it to get all our eggs or anything, so. Yeah, it's just been crazy, and it takes a good hour for me to do all my animal chores and stuff in the morning. So it just takes me a while to get everything done. All right, so today we're gonna make some breakfast. Now because it feels like fall, I want to start the day with some pumpkin goodness. So I'm gonna make some pumpkin muffins, and Charles is not a pumpkin fan at all. He does not enjoy any of the pumpkin stuff. So sad. So I'm also gonna make blueberry muffins. I've shared that recipe with you guys so many times, but I'll just continue to share it because it's the best blueberry muffin recipe ever. And let's get going. We're going to start with some muffins, and then I had made up all my bone broth yesterday. I showed you guys carcasses in my fridge that I needed to turn into bone broth. I like to do my bone broth for about 20 hours so the bones just really crumble and fall apart. So I've got a huge half gallon and a quart of bone broth, and normally I would just can that up and put it in my basement. For today I'm not going to can it up, and we're going to use it over the next few weeks, and the next few days, because it is going to be this kind of temperature for the next 3 days at least. So that's cozy soup and stew time. So you need good chicken broth for that. All right, so that being said, I guess that's it. You're caught up. My kitchen's a mess because my mom was here, so ignore the dishes. I've already got one load going. Mom was here, and that's why I was late getting a video up too. I was just visiting with my mother. So let's start our muffins. We're gonna start with the pumpkin. All right, let's get started mixing this up. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So I'm gonna do a 1/3 cup of butter here. Now it does call for oil, but I like to use butter when possible. I just think that it tastes better and richer. Along with that, I have some canned pumpkin here. Not pumpkin pie filling, just regular old canned pumpkin. Okay, and for that we want 1 cup of canned pumpkin. So there's a cup of canned pumpkin. I'm gonna mix all this wet stuff together first, and then I'll add my dry stuff. Okay, then it also calls for a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I don't have sour cream, so I'm gonna use some of our homemade yogurt. That's what I use in place of sour cream for most everything anyway. We always have plenty of yogurt, as I showed you in my fridge. I make 1 to 2 gallons of it every week. I'm also going to add 2 eggs. All right, and then we're going to stir this together. Then we're going to add in our sugar. And our spices. Alright, so it calls for a 1/2 cup of brown sugar packed. So I'm going to do just a little extra sugar, white sugar. Then it calls for a 1/4 cup of white sugar. Alright, so then this is how I normally do it. I showed you guys how to make up the brown sugar yesterday. This, though, is going to show you how I do it when I make a recipe. I rarely ever make up brown sugar. I just add the molasses into whatever I'm making, because all you're wanting is the molasses flavor. And we're going to mix all this in. That's our sugars. Someone said that they like to make a big batch of brown sugar. It never gets dry or anything. I think that is great. And in the baking season, when I'm like heavy into baking cookies and I'm going to make multiple batches of everything, I do make up a batch of brown sugar. But on the regular, I just don't. Now we're going to get into our yummy spices, all the fall yumminess. A teaspoon of cinnamon. A teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, if I can get this to come out good. We use this a lot in coffee. The kids love to make coffee and add pumpkin pie spice to it. There, do the bigger opening. They like to add it to the milk. So good. Add a teaspoon of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add some vanilla bean powder, or you could add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Alright, and that's everything here. Let's get this all mixed up. Then we're going to add in our flour. And then we're going to make a crumb topping. Just like I make for my blueberry muffins, we're going to make one for these delicious pumpkin muffins. Now we're going to do 1.5 cups of flour. If you want, you could add a few chocolate chips to this. Which actually I think I'm going to do, because Theo loves it with chocolate chips. I'm just going to put in a little handful of chocolate chips here. You could also add white chocolate chips, would be really good in this, I bet. Just stir this up. Not many, just a hint of chocolate chips. Alright, next we need to get our pans ready. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of this melted butter goodness and rub that in here. I just have it softened. for the blueberry muffins. This batter is pretty thick, so I'm gonna just spoon it in here. I'm so excited for these. I am one of those pumpkin lovers. I love pumpkin everything. I really need to get all our pumpkins cooked up and make our puree, but I also have these cans of pumpkin. There's 1 or 2 more cans of pumpkin that I have that I need to use up before I break into the new pumpkin that were store-bought. So I've read that you can't really home can pumpkin puree, homemade pumpkin puree. You can pumpkin, like cube it and can it, but you can't can the puree. So I need to look more into that on why that is. Maybe you guys know and can tell me. So I'll probably end up just canning actual pumpkin and then puree it when I'm ready to use it. See how that works. Hopefully that'll work good. Or I'll just have to make it fresh with the different recipes. Alright, I'm going to move these so we can make the crumb topping next, or at least move one of them. I'll move one of them up here. I am going to use cinnamon in this. I don't always use cinnamon in my crumb topping, but for this one I for sure want to use some cinnamon. And I'm probably going to add a little pumpkin pie spice to it as well. And maybe a little bit more vanilla. Let's get crazy. If you want to use brown sugar here, you can. I will leave you the recipe, what it calls for making the crumb topping. I'll give you guys the regular recipe. But myself, I'm just going to get, like I said, a little crazy with it. I'm going to spice up. I don't use brown sugar typically in this. I just use plain old white sugar. Now some sugar. I'm going to stir that up, and then we're going to start adding some flour in here. And these will be delicious crumb topping, buttery, sweet, and now full of spice. I like to go in with the claw motion to make my little crumb topping. Again, I've shown this many times as well. It's kind of like one of those claw machines. And I just add flour until it becomes the right consistency. So everything is getting all nice and crummy like it's supposed to. And just a hair bit more. That's good. Then we're just going to sprinkle our crumb topping on top. Go a little bit less on the crumb topping on these because I used a lot on those last ones. Perfect. That chocolate chip in there. All right, I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 350 degrees until they're nice and golden. Okay, next we'll move into our blueberry muffins. These just go together so easy. They don't mix wet and then dry or anything like that. It's 1.5 cups of flour. Charles is gonna get these recipes up on the website for you guys. So I'll have that link down below so you can go print these recipes out. We made it super easy for you guys because I wanted it to be something that I like to use. We got 3/4 cup of sugar here, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of melted butter. This I do like to just go on and beat the egg real quick. 1 large egg. Yep, I got a tiny drop of shell. bit of vanilla. A third to half a cup of milk. I do more of a half a cup of milk here normally. Stir this up. Oh wait, I don't think I did any kind of baking powder. I forgot the baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now we're ready. It's all mixed up. Probably need just a little bit more milk. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk because when I add the frozen blueberries, it will get even thicker. Yeah, that's good. I like it to be about the consistency of like a cake batter. That's perfect. Okay. It's been turning, guys, where you can see better. I'm just gonna grease my muffin tin here. We're gonna make the same crumb topping, but I'm not gonna add any spices to this one, which is very basic. Then we're gonna add some frozen blueberries or fresh blueberries. You could do either one. Add a quick stir. And the blueberry muffins are ready. Again, these will go in at 350. I pretty much bake most things at 350. If you guys haven't made these yet, they really are the best blueberry muffins. I don't even remember where I ever got this recipe from. I've been making it for years. But they are the best that I ever found. I don't think it came from my 1950s cookbook. In fact, I know it didn't because I don't much care for their muffins. Their muffins are more like scones instead of muffins in the 1950s cookbook. So I don't remember where I got this recipe from. All right. Okay, again, real fast, it's just sugar, butter, flour. Put a couple more over here. All right, that's it. These are ready as well for the oven. And I will see you guys as soon as all this is done. Okay, real quick, I want to show you guys. Look at this beautiful bone broth. So if you make your own bone broth, remember I showed you how to piece out a chicken yesterday. So if you piece out a chicken, you save the carcasses, make your own bone broth, you guys, it's so much better than the store-bought stuff, and it goes in the crock pot for 20 hours. That's it. So I will show you guys when I make it next. I pretty much make this about once a week as well, because I like to get a lot of it canned. So once I can some chicken, and the kids want to make a quick chicken soup, they just grab a jug of bone broth, some canned chicken, and they throw some veggies in, and they've got a soup. And then they usually throw it over leftover rice, and it's so easy. And it's chicken and rice soup for whenever you're sick or you just need something quick. So I'll share that recipe with you guys next week, because I'm sure we'll be making some more. All right, so then here are the muffins. Not really sure what happened with the blueberry, but that's all right. Just happens sometimes. They don't look as beautiful as normal, but they will taste divine. And then tea, hot water in the kettle for tea. My tea, you guys, one of my favorites is rose and green tea. So I just have a couple little rosebuds and some green tea leaves, and I don't sweeten it or anything. It's one of my favorite teas. All right, I'll get Charles be your taste tester. All right, today you get both of us because he won't eat pumpkin. So he's gonna try. The blueberry came out funky looking, but I know it'll.
Oh, that's pumpkin, not apple?
This is pumpkin. You wanna bite? You wanna bite?
Bummer. Lava blueberry.
Pumpkin is wonderful.
This couldn't be any better.
Pumpkin is so good.
Well, it could be a little better for it.
Okay, yours is very, very hot though. Blueberries will fry your mouth.
Yeah, I know. I have lava blueberry.
My tea is very hot. We're gonna go eat breakfast.
Give me about 3 or 4 more.
Alright, you guys, it's time to start thinking about lunch. It is going on 1 o'clock here, so we're eating way late today. I want to make some bread because we're going to make a corn chowder, like a potato corn chowder. And I also need to fry up some bacon, which I'll honestly just put in the oven. Again, just keeping the house nice and toasty. And this needs to, though, rise for a little bit. But I'm also going to use the bread for tomorrow as well. So I'm going to make it more into rolls. So we've got rolls to go with the soup, and then rolls to go with the lunch tomorrow. So let's get that started. I'm going to start with 2 cups of warm milk. You could definitely use water to keep it less expensive. I'm going to add a tablespoon or so of sugar. You could use honey or agave or maple syrup, just something sweet. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of yeast. And I'm just going to let this sit and get nice and bubbly. So it takes about 5 minutes. I'm just going to give it a little stir, get all that mixed up. Then I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes. All right, next I'm going to add 2 eggs. You don't have to add eggs at all, or you could add 1, or, you know, however you want to do it. I'm also going to add a couple tablespoons of melted butter. You could use oil there. Honestly, you can even leave the fat out. You could use lard. I'm going to add some salt, about a teaspoon. Okay, then I'm going to stir all this up. Just because I want the egg to get in there. I'm doing this by hand. So I want my egg mixed in there before I start adding the flour. If you want to do this in your mixer, then just put it in your mixer, your stand mixer, and just let it do all the work for you. It's much easier. Now we're going to start adding our flour. I'm going to do probably about 5 to 6 cups. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to start with 4. About like that. Give it a stir. When it gets too hard to stir with a spoon, I'm going to have to move to doing it with my hands. And then I'll knead it for 5 minutes. Definitely need more flour. Okay, I'm gonna have to get in with my hands on this. All right, that's about right. Now I'm gonna have Alexa start a 5-minute timer and I will knead for 5 minutes. Alexa, start a 5-minute timer.
5 minutes, starting now.
If your hands start to stick, because you're doing it by hand, then you're just gonna add some more flour. If it's sticking to the side of your bowl, then you're gonna add a little more flour if you're using your machine. This is a good upper body workout, and it definitely warms you up on these chillier days. Alright, I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. So now I'm just going to cover this up and let this rise for about an hour. Okay, it's time to get this bread going. You can see it's nice and puffy now. I'm gonna punch it down. And normally I would let it rise a second rise, but I'm not going to because I want it now. So I'm just gonna pinch some off. I'm gonna make them some good size rolls. And I just kind of squeeze it between my hand, twist the bottom. And just kind of do it like that. This also makes just regular bread. You can make cinnamon rolls. You can really do anything you want with this dough. Well, I might let it rise a little bit. I might let it rest a little bit. We'll see. I'm doing them a little bit bigger. So today I had plenty of time to be in the kitchen, but as you will see tomorrow, I do not have time to be in the kitchen, which is why I'm kind of trying to think ahead. What is it I want tomorrow? So I can make like the extra bread today. Sorry, you got twisted. To go with dinner tomorrow. Or for lunch. What kind of crock pot can I make? So just kind of stirring like that, get the meats out, all that good stuff. So I'll probably let this rise a little bit while I cut up all the veggies that we need for this potato and corn chowder soup. But I don't know that I'll give it the full like half hour to rise. Rolls bake up pretty fast. They bake up in about 20 minutes. All right. While I get the veggies ready, I'm just going to cover it and let this rise. Here is the bacon is done. Alright, you guys, now we're going to start the soup for lunch. So I've got this warming up. I am just going to add some butter into this pan and let that get all nice and melted. Then what I have here is I already cut up some carrots, some celery, some onion. I've got 3 cloves of garlic there, and then I've got about 3 potatoes cut up. I'm also gonna add leftover mashed potatoes from last night, but you don't have to do that. All right, so now that this is heated up, I am gonna go on and I'm gonna mince my 3 garlic cloves. If I can get them in there. And I'm gonna add my carrots, celery, and onion. This is usually when Charles will come down and be like, the house already smells so good. Alright, I'm just gonna get all that cooked up in this butter. I'm gonna also add the salt here. Some bacon grease would have been good in this too. I need to just get my bacon grease out. And I should have honestly saved some of that bacon grease from that. Now, if you don't have homemade chicken broth, then I would add a bay leaf and some thyme to this. However, I already have all that in my broth because I always put 2 or 3 bay leaves in my broth when I'm making it. So I've got all that flavor there. But I'll write it down that you would add a bay leaf and thyme. The only thing I'm going to add is probably just a little bit of poultry seasoning in here. So I'm going to go on and do that real quick. A little poultry seasoning. Next, I'm going to add all my potatoes. I also want to add some pepper to this. I do put a lot of pepper in my stock as well. That's starting to look pretty good. So now I'm going to start adding my bone broth. I'm going to add a little bit more if I can get this open. Alright, that should be good. You can get that up to a boil. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Then I'm just gonna let this come to a boil. I'm gonna cover it and let it do a low boil for about 30 minutes. And then everything will be nice and soft. And then we're gonna add some cream. And I've got some canned corn here, or you can add frozen or fresh. We're gonna add some corn. But we need all these veggies to cook down a little bit. Let me wipe down this lid. While that's going, I'm going to make an egg wash real quick to go on our bread, because I'm going to go on and get that in the oven. So I just like to take some bread, or an egg, and just kind of get it mixed in a little bit. And then over here, I just like to brush it on the top of each of these rolls, and these are going to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Okay, I'm going to pop these in the oven. Alright, now this soup is really boiling here good, so I'm going to turn that heat down a little bit because I want it a little bit softer boil. And again, this is going to go for about 20-30 minutes till everything's fork tender. Okay, so our rolls are out of the oven. Now it's time to stir this soup. Check on it. It's smelling delicious. The potatoes seem tender. Let's see if the carrots are tender. They're almost there. Potatoes are definitely tender enough. Alright, I think we're about ready. Now I'm going to add about a half a can, or about a couple cups of corn to this, because it is a potato corn chowder. I'm also going to add our leftover potatoes from last night. Alright, then I'm going to add some of the cream off the top of our milk. Or you could use heavy cream or half and half. You could also, if you don't have milk or want to use milk, you could do some coconut milk would be good in this as well. We've made this kind of chowder a lot with coconut milk. That's always really good and thick and creamy. Bringing this back up to a little bit of a boil. I just want it to kind of heat back up real good. And then I'm getting my immersion blender ready. And I'm going to just do a little bit of that with these potatoes. Alright, I think that is good. And I'm going to turn the heat back down. Now, I want this a little thicker. The girls and I will be happy with that. Charles will not. He'll say that it's too runny. So to thicken it, I just have a little slurry here of some cornstarch and water. I'm just going to add that in. And that should thicken it up. Stir that, and we'll let this just cook for a few minutes. If you did add the bay leaf and fresh thyme, you want to go on and pull that out. If you just added bay leaf and dried thyme, then just make sure you pull the bay leaf out. Alright, we're going to let this just simmer, and then we're going to top it. And top it however you want. We're going to sprinkle on some cheese, and we've got the bacon, the crumbled bacon. We're going to sprinkle that on top, and then I'm going to add crushed Korean red peppers because I add that to everything. I love the taste of it. But yeah, that's how we're going to do. So I want to take a minute to just say, you guys, look at these rolls. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in and really pick it up. They are so delicious. A little butter on there, dip it with your soup. They're gonna be perfect. All right, so here it is. I'll show you mine and Charles's. This one is mine. I gave myself the one roll that looked a little bit less attractive than the others. So some cheese. And a little bit of bacon. Some bacon. I'm gonna say bacon for the girls. Then mine, crushed Korean red pepper. I love that stuff. And then green onions, I forgot to mention that. Green onions. And that is it. I will get Charles to come be a taste tester. Okay, Charles and I will both be your taste tester because he's not a soup lover. I am.
I kind of don't want to eat it because it's picture perfect. I should take a picture of that.
No, I should eat it.
It's really good. It's even better when it's really, really cold outside.
Try your
like it is
roll.
today. You don't have to ask me twice. I don't think you could have made those any better. Very good. I'll give you 2 thumbs up, but I dropped my food.
We're gonna go eat. All right, you guys, dinner. I'm gonna kind of try and do it fast for you guys as far as what I film because I just got done editing up to this point for you guys, and it is already like 45 minutes long. So we are making a chicken pot pie. I'm gonna use leftover chicken from last night. Again, trying not to waste, so we use the potatoes from last night. We're using the chicken from last night. So that way we don't waste any, especially stuff that we've grown ourselves and raised ourselves. You know, I don't want to waste any drop of it. So we're gonna make a fast and easy chicken pot pie. I'm gonna make some pie crust real quick. You're gonna start with a pie crust pre-baked on the bottom, and then we'll put another one on top. You can make homemade, which is what I'm doing, or you can just use a store-bought. That works fine. Or you can not even use pie crust at all and get like some puff pastry and just layer that on top and don't even have one on the bottom. That's great too. I'm also, because I'm tired of being in the kitchen and it's already going on 7 and I'm just now making dinner, I'm gonna use my fast food. So I've got some pre-cut onion. I've got bags of mixed vegetables. I don't gotta mess with all that. I've got some jarred garlic. I did cut up 2 yellow potatoes. I should have probably saved the potatoes from last night and threw that in here, but that's all right, I didn't. So that's my way of just making it way faster. So let me go on and make this pie crust and then I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, so while I have my bottom pie crust heating, or cooking a little bit, we're gonna melt some butter and get this started. I'm gonna need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Now I did pick some chicken off already, so that's ready to go. I'm gonna add my onions because we're gonna saute some onions. My frozen onion. We're also going to be adding flour to this, so you want to use a good like 1/4 cup of butter. You want a good amount of butter in here getting melted, because we're going to make our roux. You're also going to want some good spices like sage, one of my favorites, which I can't believe I didn't grow any this year. I like rubbed sage better. I just think it tastes fresher. And, you know, it just tastes like the holidays, and it tastes like, to me, fall. Thanksgiving, and all the good fall stuff. So we're going to be adding some sage, salt and pepper. You could also add thyme if you want. You are going to need a couple cups of chicken broth, which I'm going to use our chicken bone broth. You're going to need about 3/4 cup of milk. You're going to need 1/3 cup of flour. You're going to need some veggies, and you're going to need your chicken, again, and your salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add a little garlic, because I love garlic. It makes everything better. And we're just going to saute this for just a few minutes. This comes together pretty quick, but then it does need to bake then in the oven. It's going to bake for, it just depends. I'm adding potatoes, so I'll probably do it for like 30 minutes, but you could do it as little as 15 minutes, especially if you had already like pre-cooked potatoes. I'm going to go on and add my flour here. Add 1/3 cup of flour. And you want to make sure you cook your flour. So get it in there, get it all soaked up in this. You want that cooking because you don't want it to taste like flour. So just get this cooked a little bit. I am going to go try and go kind of fast because I do want to try and get this up for you guys by 9. So cook your flour. We're going to be moving to our whisk because we're going to add at the same time our chicken broth and our milk. We're going to stir this all together, and this is going to thicken up and become our roux. Scrape all the bits. Oh, I so dropped that in there. Also want to use your sage now. Add that. Your spices. Pepper. Some salt. So if you already have a pie crust pre-made, even honestly making it is so about 15 minutes of hands-on in the kitchen. So throw this together really quick if you have already cooked chicken and you have your bone broth already made, or you have chicken stock. It comes together really fast. This is getting good and thick. Already. Okay. Oh, I am having, it's because I'm rushing. I'm rushing because everybody's hungry and I want to get this done. All right, then we're gonna add our potatoes. A bag of mixed vegetables. I'm using frozen or just whatever kind of veggies you have on hand. And honestly, I was gonna do 2, but I think 1 is gonna be fine. And then our chicken. So we're gonna add all this together now. Stir this up. You do wanna give it a taste. Make sure you don't need anything else. Any more salt, pepper, anything like that. And look at how beautiful that is. Just that fast, boom, beautiful, done. It just goes into the oven for about a half hour. A little bit more salt. That is mighty good. A little more salt. I'm gonna turn this off because this is ready to be poured in then to our crust. Again, to me, this is a fast food. That is just so good. All right, I'm gonna remove that from the heat. All right, pull out one of my pie crusts. I'm gonna dump all this in to my pie crust. Also just a great way to make leftovers. You got leftover turkey. This is a great turkey leftover, you know, around the holidays kind of meal. All right, and then we have a pie crust for the top. Again, my pie crusts are never beautiful and perfect. That's all right. That's also the fun of homemade, is it can all look homemade and be wonderful. Just kind of tuck that all on there. And in there. Okay, then my knife, I'm just gonna cut a couple little slits.
You know what? Then we're gonna have to go on a drive without Mom and Dad's phone and use Mom's phone instead.
And we're gonna pop this in the oven.
We only do that if Mom goes with us.
Where are you guys going?
Nowhere until I fix this phone.
All right, so here is our beautiful pot pie. You guys can see, smells so good. All right, you guys are just gonna take my word for it. It is amazing and delicious. It's gotta cool off and I need to get this video up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's full day of, you know, really budget-friendly, cozy fall kind of meals today. I got somebody peeking in. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another Pantry Challenge Day. Bye everybody, have a great day or night wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching.